Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Voices That Heal podcast. I am your girl, Jams. You've seen me before many a time, and I am so excited to be with you this evening. This is going to be a good conversation. For those who have been rocking with us from the beginning, you know that every November we do I guess it's a Black women lung cancer roundtable. I got to figure out a way to shorten that a little bit, but we do a roundtable with survivors, and we try to bring topics to the table that are different than what we normally hear. You know, we all kind of get stuck in this cycle of sharing our stories and doing this and doing that. And sometimes it's nice to just talk about the human side of this and who we are as people, you know, living with this disease. And so I try to bring everybody together to have conversations that are real and authentic about what's really happening in our lives besides, surviving with lung cancer. Sometimes it's how are we doing certain things in our lives over and above having this lung cancer disease. So that being said, we are live on Facebook. We're also live on YouTube. If you have any questions, if you want to show support, if you want to throw hearts and love in the chat, I will do my best to get all of those on the screen so the ladies can hear it and to see it. Definitely not hear it because you're not live, but the ladies will see it. But yeah, other than that, if you have anything you need in terms of, further information, if you miss somebody's contact information, all that stuff will be shared at the end of the show. So you don't have to worry about having a pen and stuff like that. And this will always live live on the YouTube and the Facebook page for Heal Collaborative. So make sure you're following them too, so that you don't miss any updates. So I am going to step back and I'm going to let these ladies hop on stage and they're going to introduce themselves one by one. I have 5 other survivors with me. So strap in and buckle up because this is going to be a great conversation and it's going to probably be a long one because we all have something to say. So ladies, welcome to the show. So many of us in here right now. All right. So we are all survivors in our own right. We've all had this disease. We're all battling this disease in our own way. What I want you guys to do is I want you to share your stories briefly with the audience, just a quick overview of who you are, when you got diagnosed, staging, things like that. And we'll get into different aspects of your stories as we start the conversation. So I am going to put you guys solo as you do share so that you'll be able to just see yourself. We're still here in the background, but go ahead and share your story. And I'm going to, since Colette, you're the first one on my screen, I'm going to go ahead and make you be first. So welcome and share your story.
Okay, I'm Colette Smith. I am from the Boogie Down Bronx. I was diagnosed in September of 2015, stage 1A, EGFR exon 20. That's my biomarker. And my treatment has been thus far an upper left lobectomy. I continue to be watched for nodules in my left lung. No, right. This is my right. Yeah, right.
You're right, our left, or your left, our right. We're not even sure. All right. So next up on my screen, I'm going to jump around a little bit and jump over to Billy. So Billy, how you doing this evening? And welcome.
Hi, I am doing well. Thank you for the welcome. I'm Billy. I am 42. I was diagnosed in December 2023 at age 40. I had just turned 40 that year. I am stage 3 ALK positive non-small cell lung cancer.
Okay, got it. All right. And hop over to Donna. You are up next.
Hi, I'm Donna. First diagnosed in October of 2015, January of 2022, and June of 2025. My biomarker is EGFR exon 19, and currently my treatment has been through surgery, removing my upper right lobe in 2015, lower right lobe in 2022, and radiation therapy in 2025. I am not on any other medication therapy at this time, but I'm stable. Everything is good.
Okay, good. All right. And last but not least, nope, we got Natalie too. Sorry. Second to last but not least is Marika.
Hi, I'm Marika. I got diagnosed at 39. I got diagnosed with stage 4. I'm ALK positive. I've only been a survivor for a year. And everything has been going good thus far.
All right. So, first of all, welcome to the show for being 1 year in. I don't think I was ready for doing appearances and conversations 1 year in. So, applause to you for doing that. All right. And last but not least, Miss Natalie.
Hello, everyone. My name is Natalie Brown. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. I was originally diagnosed in the summer of 2020 with stage 4 non-small cell lung cancer. As of 12 months ago, I actually received a double lung transplant to replace my diseased lungs with a donor's lungs. Unfortunately, my cancer did return. So I am actually back on chemo. I actually had chemo this morning, and then I do radiation periodically.
Okay. Chemo this morning, and you're still with us today. So props to you for that. All right, ladies. So now that we've introduced ourselves and the audience has a bit of a feel of who we are, we're going to jump right into conversation. So I'm going to let, whoever wants to jump in can jump in. But honestly, Marika, we'll probably leave you off this conversation because this is for long-term survivorship. And you're only one with us right now. You're an infant, if you will. We like to refer to us as ages. I'm only 7, so don't be alarmed. But yeah, so we'll have you sit this one out, but I'm going to let the ladies jump in and kind of share what long-term survivorship looks like for you. And this is something that's new in the lung cancer community because we didn't have, we didn't have long-term survivors. Like lung cancer was a disease where, once you got it, you weren't here that long with it. And so there was no conversation about what to do at year, 5, 10, 15, and 20, because that was just unheard of. So now we are kind of, I like to think and like to say that we're almost making history in our own way because we are living longer than anybody any expectations or anybody previously before us with this disease. And with that comes unique sets of challenges. Like, how do you deal with, medication side effects now that you're a long-term survivor? This is 10, 20 years of some of these side effects. What does that do to your body? Things like that. So I wanted to open up the conversation because each one of us has had to walk with this very differently. And I just want to see, what it looks like for you being a long-term survivor and like, what are some of the things that, what are some of the things that are concerning you about these milestones as they come up, So, I mean, it's everybody's different in their year marks and stuff like that. But for me, with being 7 next month, my biggest fear is, of course, like when I hit that 8, 9, 10 year mark, am I still going to be on the same medicine? Am I going to switch? Is there going to be side effects with that medication? And what does that look like? And not knowing is, that gray area can definitely give you a little bit of pause and hesitation. So, since I know Donna's 10 years in and she's, I think you're the veteran in the group right now, right? Or Colette? Colette was, what was Colette?
We're both around the same time.
Yeah, I was like, you guys are actually the same age. Okay.
Yeah.
So we're going to let you two go first. Donna, I'll let you start, and then I'll jump over to you, Colette.
Yeah. This year, it's been, 10 years. I will say from one perspective, it's been it's been probably some of the best years of my life in terms of making sure, walking into uncomfortable spaces. So when advocacy work has placed me in rooms that I likely I dreamed about them, but I probably wouldn't have walked into them. But I will say something about, and Jamie, you mentioned this, something about hitting that 10-year mark, like you look forward to it, but when it gets here, it kind of took my breath away in a way that I'm taking a pause back from even some advocacy work, even from, like I've been wearing lung cancer, like paraphernalia braces for 10 years, and like I have nothing on now. And so I won't say I have fear, but what I will say is it's kind of like what's on the other side of 10, And I think I had said to someone earlier, I was like, I kind of feel like I'll probably stop counting and just, not that I'm not living, but just kind of marking those milestones. It's like, at what point, I don't know, what does it look like on the other side of 10? And then for me, not being able to take any type of treatment, I mentioned earlier, like my multiple state occurrences, the first 2 were stage 2. And so fortunately, all of my diagnoses have been early stage. This third time, they're like, it's either stage 1 or stage 4. They don't know, just based on how it presents in my body. And so it's just like, it's exhausting mentally. It's exhausting physically. Clearly, it's exhausting financially. And so I just have mixed emotions right now of where I am in this space and what I want to do for this next chapter of my experience.
I definitely understand that, and I can relate 100%. Not necessarily on the 10-year mark because I'm not there yet, but I will get there someday. But I can relate to, just being tired on all the different fronts. It's a very, very trying journey that we're on. So, Colette, I'll throw it over to you and see what it looks like for you as well, being a long-term survivor, and what are some of these things that you are hesitant about, or what are the things you fear with hitting some of these milestones also.
Um, Thank you for that, Jamie. Similar to you, Donna, I'm finding myself in rooms and spaces that I never imagined I would be in. I'm speaking to the inaugural chief medical officer at MSK, who's my oncologist. And I'm like, how did I get here? And working on collaborative ventures with Mount Sinai, and kind of feels like I just woke up one day and I'm in these spaces. Um, I am fearful a lot because I am not on any specific treatment, and like the right side of my body is playing like whack-a-mole. A nodule appears, then it disappears, or it calcifies, and I find myself seeking second and third opinions, of course, involving my oncologist and everyone else, and then deciding on a treatment plan should I need it, because EGFR exon 20 is supposedly the bad guy, and there's one drug on the market which has not been too effective, but there's another one in third stage clinical trial that I've heard of. I have some survivor's guilt because I feel badly about others who are diagnosed late stages. And I feel like I have to, not have to, but I want to carry that baton and that torch to light the way for them. And I'm excited though. I'm excited mostly because I know change is coming. Change is going to come with screening guidelines. And somewhere, somehow, the right groups are going to hear our voices. So it's mostly excitement, but mixed with some fear.
Yeah, definitely. I made you smaller at the wrong time. I should have kept you big for that soundbite. It's okay. I missed a good line. No, and I understand that 100%. And I, in my own case, there's like this idea of, I always talk about knowing your body and knowing what's par for you, what's baseline for you. And it's like at a certain point, you've been dealing with this for so long, it's almost like, you don't have fresh eyes on things. You're like, oh, this is just something that you weren't even paying attention to, didn't even notice was an issue, and so it's always trying to just be in tune with what's happening, and knowing when something is actual cause for alarm, or if it's like, no, you just tripping, like you just something, you didn't drink enough water today, or like you're not taking care of yourself in the right way, and that's why you're having these symptoms, these side effects. And so there's always this balance between like, do I panic? Do I not panic? When's the right time to panic? Am I overreacting or am I underreacting? And I think a lot of us who got our diagnosis and had these symptoms and side effects that like we may have pushed to the side a little bit, now all stay at like terror level alert, like orange, because you're just like, that was a cough. Ooh, you know what that cough is like that time I had a cough back in 2020, you know what I mean? And so you always just have this fear in the back of your head that like, what if this headache is more than just a headache? Or what if this stomach ache is something more indicative of something else? So I need to call my doctor. And you don't want to, be the sheep who cried wolf all the time too. So I find that I struggle with that part of the journey, is like, okay, is this normal? Or like, is this par for the course? Or should I actually raise some concerns? But Billy, I'm going to turn to you real quick, because even though you're 2 years in, you still have things that you can be afraid of and things that you can be fearful of when you hit that year 5 mark. So what are some of those things? I know you're listening to some of us OGs, which is funny to say, but you're listening to us OGs talk about all our aches and pains and struggles and stuff. So, all that stuff aside, what are some of the things that you're concerned about given your health and your situation? Because only you would know.
Yeah. So I guess some of the same concerns, and it's concerning that I have these concerns this soon. And y'all got a lot of years on me, so I got a long time, so I guess worry about this stuff. But one of the things, having stage 3, the last meeting that I had with my oncologist and the team was about the medication, my medication stopping at 2 years because of what the research says, which I've been trying to find more research about it. So it's like this. Like, do I hope for, which is going to sound insane, but do I hope for progression so that I could keep the meds that are working, or do I stop the meds and wait for progression? And I don't know if stopping this med and switching to something different is the plan. He kind of said, well, let's cross that bridge when we get there. And now we're 6 months out. So to me, we're there. And so when I see him in January, I expect to have this conversation with him about what's to come for summer 2026, because apparently the med after 2 years with stage 3 is not advisable. I don't know why, and I've been trying to find out why. But anyways, so that the financial toll that it takes, I think I've talked about this several times over several platforms about the insurance piece. So being a business owner, for me, it was easier to just pay for like, a mammogram or even a pap smear out of pocket. And then when I got this cancer diagnosis, last month for my scans, I paid $3,200 out of pocket. And still owe though, but I still owe, and that's just what I had to pay to get the scan. And so financially it's whipping me. I gotta figure something out. And the last 2 years have whipped me financially. Every appointment is a huge payment. And when I was trying to figure out the insurance thing last year, it was the possibility of having to pay about $5,000 for this $19,000 a month med, and that doesn't work either. So it's like, can I pay $3,200 every 3 months, or can I pay $5,000 every single month? So you take the lesser of the two evils. And so that's been hard. Like you mentioned, the anxiety, and as we know, and all y'all know, like my anxiety is way past cold orange. It's like super duper cold red. Anything is something to me. Like, I don't care if my nose is running, maybe something is clogged up, and maybe the cancer has moved from my, lungs to my nose. It's always something with me. But overall, I'm thankful for where I am, and I do look to y'all for strategies. And I realized really soon is what I realized is that, like, the more you learn, the more you can advocate for yourself and fight for yourself. And I didn't know a lot in the beginning, because even like with getting the chemotherapy before I got my biomarker testing, had I known then, I probably could have, went around that. But I'm here and happy to be here and trying to get to 2 and 5 and 10, and 20 years like y'all. So
yeah, definitely. So I think one thing that folks don't realize is that even with the best insurance, having cancer is expensive. It does not matter if you have Cadillac insurance. Like, you are going to pay money. It's going to drain you financially in ways that you never even imagined. And that's part of the struggle with long-term survivorship is like, you'll drain your 401k trying to just stay alive. And then it's like, okay, so I don't retire is what you're telling me. Like, you have to wonder, like, what's the next step after that? Because you've burned your savings, you've burned every kind of additional little nest egg you may have put to the side for, what we all hope was our future. And it's like, hey, I'm in that future now, and none of this money is available anymore because I had to use it to survive. So that's I think it's the financial toxicity of it is what they call it. But Chad in the chat jumped in, or Raven in the chat jumped in and said, does Marika have questions from a newbie to an older OG vet? So do you have any questions? I know it's overwhelming being year one, and you probably have a million questions, but you're in a room full of various stages at this point. So what kind of questions can we answer for you?
My biggest thing is, how do you guys deal with because of the situation, we have to get scans so often. And I noticed, like, at the beginning of my journey, like, I wanted the scans, and now I don't want the scans. Like, there's so much anxiety attached to the scans now, because of the fear of like progression or anything like that. So how do you guys necessarily deal with that?
So it doesn't go away. You just learn to deal with it in different ways. Okay. And I'm answering from my own perspective. I'll let the ladies jump in too. I would say I've tried to reclaim my time, if you will, and I try to make my scan something that's more enjoyable. So I try to treat myself after the scan to something that I want, whether it's ice cream or some, snack of some sort, whatever it may be. But I try to make it where it's like, hey, you have to go through this crappy thing, but at least at the end of it, you're getting tacos or something like that. I'm very much food motivated, if you haven't already guessed. So that for me is something I do. But then it's also this idea that, like, okay, what is worrying about it going to do? Worrying about it's not going to change the outcome. It's going to be what it is, no matter what. So you could waste your time actually worrying, or you could just spend your time, praying about it, thinking about it, and getting in the right mindset to accept whatever those results may be, and just know and trust that your healthcare team and system is going to help you and is going to, work with you along the way. So that's kind of how I think about it. Sometimes you just need the paper bag, though, and there's nothing you can do about it. You need that paper bag, go ahead and blow in the paper bag. But I think scanxiety is always going to be a part of the journey. It's just finding ways to cope with it so that you don't melt down and it's not such a disruption to your day whenever it does happen. And that's my 2 cents. So
Yeah, I'll say really quickly again, my anxiety, I send myself into fevers. That's how bad my anxiety is. But I'll say that after you get a few stable scans, it feels a little bit better and a little bit different. And then one thing that Ruby told me when I first got started, when my anxiety was really bad, was that I was wasting my worry, in a sense. I think she said that, or that's what I took from it. And so it was like I was sitting here worrying about something that really hadn't happened, or worry when it's time to worry. And so that helped me a lot, so much that I actually even, and I never thought I would be here, I go to my scans and to my result appointments. Like the last 2 I've been to alone, because people are back working. And in the beginning, my sister took off and she took me to all of my radiation appointments, and she went to every doctor appointment. Well, she was off because our mom had died, but now she's back at work, so I go to those appointments by myself. And I just never imagined that I would be able to do that. And so trying to save that worry for when it's time to worry, like that's what I try to mentally tell myself, like, okay, when it's time to worry, then we can worry. But right now, like Ruby said, like, don't waste the worry.
Yep, absolutely. Anybody else?
So, and it's funny because I threw that in the chat to talk about that. So I know we all have scans at different time periods. So for me, I actually am scanned every 3 months for years. And in the beginning, I would go like during my work day. I would like, oh, like a regular doctor's appointment. I was like, am I weird? And then I would get these scans done. And normally the results will come into, when I would read them, and I've become kind of sort of a mini expert in like reading the scans, like the results. But going back to 10 years where I am now, 1 year, one day, actually twice, surprisingly, I was the first person to see like the cancer had returned to 2022, calling my doctors. But then even earlier this year or 2024, when I started having some activity, I decided at that moment and I think you said it earlier, Jamie, it's like there's nothing I could do about it, right? So I think it's that initial shock of like the first time you see something. And so now where I am, they explained to me like so my scans reports will never look how they looked in the past. It's never cut and dry because of radiation and some other things. And so what I've decided to do is I don't work on that day anymore. I would like go to work, then leave and go there. And I just kind of try to do something else. I don't look at the reports anymore when they come in. I wait until I see my doctor. And that has actually had the opposite effect. Instead of me being anxious, I'm actually calm because I'm like, I won't know until I get there, and I'm going to enjoy these days until then. And you'll find something that works for you. Like Jamie said, you eat something, you do something fun. But scanxiety is real. You just, there's nothing we can do about it. And I'm like, for the rest of my life, if I have to get these every 3 months, am I going to be like sad, anxious one day every 3 months? So just kind of turn it around mentally into a part of treatment. Because one of the things the scans will do is catch something early if it's there. So the reason I'm, have multiple occurrences, but all early stage, is because I've never missed a scan in 10 years. And so because of that, is there, take it out. Is there, let's go. So I have more options available to me. To have it 3 times and still be in the early stage is probably almost unheard of. So look at the scan that way. That could help too mentally.
Okay.
Yep.
And not only that too, I'd like to add something. The science has progressed, it's developing. So my thought process is by the time something needs to be taken care of, there'll be something down the line that I may be able to depend on. Like there's something in third stage clinical trial now, should I need it? And scans are improving. Like I heard my oncologist explain about a CT scan and how it's able to take one tiny nodule and slice it up into 1,000 pieces so that they can dissect it electronically. So I trust the science. It's just, and I can't say anything about the fear because I'm not good at this. I get fearful too, but I go forth afraid. I do what I have to do, despite being fearful. And like you, Donna, I do something fun afterwards. I either go get a facial, a massage, buy myself something nice, eat a nice lunch by myself.
Yeah. Because I think that's the thing too. As cancer patients, we don't always do self-care. So sometimes the only opportunity you're going to get for self-care is to distract yourself from some crappy situations. So by all means, take yourself out to a movie, go do something fun that you've been wanting to do, buy yourself something nice, whatever. You know, it's not all your money needs to go to cancer, but like also surrounding yourself with people that, you know, care about you and know what you're going through is helpful, because your anxiety and scanxiety can manifest itself in many different ways. It may not just be like, oh, I'm anxious, I'm shaking, I'm nervous, I'm scared. You could lash out at people. You could just be, you know, the smallest thing on TV could make you start crying. Like your emotions are out of whack. So having somebody around you and having people around you that are like, hey, you're fine. Everything's going to be okay tomorrow. Don't worry about it. Like just giving you that understanding nod sometimes means everything in the world, you know, or even if they just see you staring off into the distance and they're like, you're going to be okay. It's like, all right, yeah, you're right. Like, what am I even doing anyway? Like sometimes you just need those people to bring you back down and tell you that it's all right. So lean into your support system, lean into us. We've been through it, you know, and I will tell you as an alky, you are in, I don't want to say good company because it's not great, but I mean, ALK has a lot of different medications. So progression, yeah, it may happen, you know, but you may also get 7 years on a medication like some of us, or even longer. And if you don't, then there's probably going to be another medication for you to jump to. So there's always going to be another option, you know, and just keep that in the back of your mind that like your doctor probably already has a plan B, C, and D for you. So just make sure that you're not, like they said, wasting your worry. So, oh, Sydney's in the chat, ladies and gentlemen. What's Sydney saying here? She said, scanxiety will ebb and flow. It's easier when you have been stable. Triggers will heighten it, such as deaths in the community. Yep. Or possibility of progression. However, the good thing about scans is that they can catch progression early, and progression hasn't been as scary as I thought. So yeah, and she's been through some things as well. So progression is going to happen. Just make sure you got the right mindset around it. You know, it's inevitable, put it that way. So there's no need in worrying about it because it's going to happen no matter what. Just be prepared for when it does. Thank you everybody for chiming in on that one and for, you know, kind of reassuring. So next question I have for the group, and, you know, anybody can answer this one, but what kind of chronic pain are you guys dealing with? Like, what is some of the pains that I know, Natalie, I'll put you up first. What are some of the pains that have sprung up on you that were maybe unsurprising, some that were unsurprising, but just what are some of the things that we deal with? Because I don't think folks understand the caliber of chronic pain that comes with a cancer diagnosis like this.
Ooh. I could talk about this all day long. I have been in pain for years, literally. And it all has something to primarily do with the cancer. Starting from years ago, obviously I had a cough due to the cancer. So I would cough anywhere between 200 to 300 times an hour. And I could track this on my phone with a cough tracker. So I was actually cracking my ribs. So obviously that was an extreme amount of pain. And it had gotten to the point where the emergency room was like, hey, there's really no need for you to come back. You know, there's nothing further that we can do for you. We can just give you medicine and send you on your way. So I dealt with that for a long time. So I honestly, just being transparent, I know right now I've been on oxy and morphine straight for about 15 months, like literally straight, because I had to get the double lung transplant. Obviously, there was pain from that. However, since the cancer did return, I do have lesions in my spine, in my back, lower back area, which are extremely painful. The thing about it is I'm so what did they say? They said that I metabolize really well, which is not a good thing because a lot of these medications, they don't work well. They work for a while and they don't. But the thing about it is I have to keep going. I can't, like I don't have the luxury to say like, oh my goodness, my back hurts so bad. Like I'm not going to work out because that's just not me. Like I'm still going to be active. I'm still going to live life. So I typically like if I'm hurting, a person will never know it, like because I'll never say anything. 9 times out of 10, I'll just drug up and I'll just keep going. And I know that sounds crazy, but that's kind of just the way that my life is. I am literally always in pain. I'm in pain right now. You probably couldn't tell because I'm high. Sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that on here, but that's just the reality of the situation. And I know a lot of people don't like taking pain medications. Like I get it because of the side effects and the constipation, but I don't have those issues because I've been in pain so long. I've learned how to manage my constipation. I've learned how to deal with it in all kind of ways. But having cancer will literally leave you in so much, just like so much pain. But like I said, I'm not about to stop my life just because I'm in pain. Like I'm about to go on a trip in like 10 days. I'm going to take all my drugs with me and I'm going to have a good time. And I mean, that just kind of is what it is.
I love it. Donna, how about you? I know you've gone through some crazy stuff this year. This has been a doozy for you. So let's talk about some of your chronic pain and stuff that you've dealt with.
It is. And so for me, you kind of caught me off guard with that when I was so busy listening to Natalie, I wasn't prepared, but it's all good. So because I now have kidney issues, I can't take regular pain medication. And so the only thing I can take for pain is prednisone. And prednisone will have you forgetting that pain ever existed. And you're like, hey, and so I try to get off and then I'll still have pain. But a lot of it is just, and so now, I was thinking about you the other day, Natalie, because I'm about to cough when I say the word cough. I hate that. But I cough a lot now because of the radiation. And so one thing that happened to me this year when I went into kidney failure trying to take this medication, kidney stopped working, found out I had lupus, like a lot of people are hearing this for the first time. And so having lupus, nephritis, having kidney issues, everything goes to your kidneys. So like I can't take all the things that used to help me back in the day. I can't take them. And so that is kind of like you said, I've been in pain for so long. I just kind of walk wounded, if you will. But now that I'm coughing, and I think about you because I'm like, that's a different type of pain because I'm like trying to control my cough because I remember you saying like how you cracked your ribs. And I'm like, and it happens at night. And so just trying to control that, it's one of those things that people, we look how we look. Like anyone that's watching here today would not know much of what we go through just by looking at us. And while people, oh, you're so strong, you look amazing. Sometimes that's annoying. Like sometimes I don't want to just hear, oh my God, you look amazing, because then you're going to
say that again for the people in the back.
That's annoying. Like we don't always want to hear you're so strong. God's got you. Look at you. You look amazing. Yeah, well, not saying that I want to look horrible, but I'm like, you're going to forget though. You're going to forget like I'm suffering most days, because we walk wounded. And so, yeah, that's annoying. Like, we don't have to hear that every day. Whoever's watching, like how amazing we look at. And God is amazing. God is good. And I still hurt and I'm still in pain and I'm still annoyed and I'm still irritated and I'm still loving life. All the things, it all could be true. And so just kind of trying to manage that because when you're coughing, I haven't coughed for years and now I'm coughing. I'm like, I know they said it's side effect. So because of the lupus and the inflammation from all of that, having radiation has caused me to have like all this stuff going on in my chest. So my chest hurts. I'm like, if you touch me right here, it hurts. I'm just trying not to crack my ribs, or like, and then you're coughing in spaces and everyone's looking at you because they're like, hey, she has cancer. Is she okay? So oh my God, it's a mess. So yeah, I just, yeah. So
it was almost worse during COVID. Like coughing during COVID with cancer, it was just like, oh my goodness. Like it's like, I was trying to think of it. I'm sorry, it's allergies. It's what, like anything just for people to be like, oh, do you have COVID? Like, no, man. Like it's just a cough. Like everything's fine. I'm good. It's terrible.
Just trying to breathe.
Right. I'm just trying to live. Like, please.
So
I feel you on that. And definitely 100% on the, you look great. And God's got you. It's like, yeah, God is good all the time, even when I don't look great. So, it's okay. Like he's good in the good and he's good in the bad too. Like, let's be honest. Right. But anybody else want to share chronic pain? Colette, how about you?
I have pain that started, I would say, about a year after the lobectomy. It kind of feels like, and I've explained this to my physicians like 1,000 times, like I have this big lump on a rib and it's not visible on the MRI, so they don't know what it is, but it's painful. It's very painful. So the bra doesn't sit right. And then there's this sensation that I feel, and it happens in the spring and sometimes in the fall, where I feel like I'm getting in enough air, and then to exhale, it's like tough. So breathing becomes an issue in the spring and sometimes in the fall. Um, I've always had allergies. This is not what allergies feel like. So I find ways to deal with it. I get acupuncture that helps. I get like a medical massage that helps also. Like, and it usually takes about 3 months for it to kick in, but I cope.
Yeah. I'm gonna try something, y'all. Hold
I
on.
want to say something to
Oh.
Colette about that. What you just said. Having, because we had similar surgeries. Mine was on the right. That is a pain that's there, and what I've been told is it's scar tissue. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's always there, and it's just we can feel it, no one else can, and it's inside, like the bra line, all the things. And then I had surgery twice in the same area, so I'm like, I just don't even think about it anymore, and I kind of forgot about it until you just mentioned it. But I wonder if that's similar to like what it is, just the scar tissue from them cutting around that area.
It probably is. And then it makes me anxious to the point where I'm like, okay, I am not going to sleep tonight because I am not going to be able to breathe. I am going to die in my sleep. So
Oh.
sometimes it gets that crazy, but
Yeah.
that's how I cope.
So when I have my Plorex catheter, earlier on in my diagnosis, I have scar tissue built up in between my two little ribs or whatever, where they jab the needle. And that scar tissue, like I don't know if it's like when it rains, when the weather's weird, but it just aches. Like it aches like it's still there sometimes. And I'm like, I've told my doctor about it, and they've done scans, and they're like, you don't have there's no effusion happening, there's nothing there, so you're fine. But I'm like, but this thing aches, like the whole area just aches. And they're like, yeah, you got scar tissue built up, da 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 da. So it's the same thing. I thought about getting a tattoo on it, but then I'm like, I may hyperventilate if I get a tattoo. Like this thing is still sensitive years later. Like I'm terrified of it, but like I want to reclaim my space, but I'm scared to do it. So, but yeah, I mean it's that kind of stuff where like you don't realize that this is going to be something that's here forever, or here for the long haul, and you're like, dang, am I built for this? Like, I guess I have to be, because you don't really have another choice. You just got to make a way through it, no matter what you got going on. So, Billy, I don't know if you want to jump in with any chronic pain. I know you got some stuff.
Yeah, I guess just similar to everybody. So I've had pain for years too, so much that even before the cancer, I had seen like rheumatologists and stuff because I thought it was lupus for me too, and my body would just hurt. Like I would just be in bed. I would just literally have to take some days and everything hurt. Like even to touch my skin would hurt. And so I went to rheumatologists, like two different ones, one at Emory, one at Grady, and nothing. And that was years ago. But one thing I, like Natalie, like I just deal with pain so much that my friends think that I like pain, which is the weirdest thing ever. Like anybody who knows me, they'll say like, "Oh, you like pain?" Like, no, I don't. I don't like pain, but I do have a high tolerance for pain. And I just do, and so I deal with it. And like now I'm on I started out on morphine, which I just ran through because just like I have a high tolerance for pain, my body really adapts to medicine really quickly. So I went on morphine. I was at probably like one of the highest doses in the first 3 months because we kept revving it up. And I was like, oh no, I don't like this. And so now I'm on Oxy, which I made a joke on my Facebook today about my nose itching. So that is, dealing with like this facial itching from the Oxy is crazy. But I do have a lot of pain, but I just deal with it because you gotta do what you gotta do. I work with children, so I'm sitting on the floor all day, up and down every 30 minutes. And for now it's just my life. I just gotta do what I gotta do. When I can rest, I rest. I moved a couple months ago and I've been moving for 2 months now because I'm just putting stuff away slowly and just, just again, like Natalie, just you still gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah,
Can't
definitely.
stop working.
Mark, I don't want to skip you because you definitely have valid input here. So is there anything going on with you in terms of chronic pain or anything that you've noticed that maybe we can maybe answer for you? Like, yeah, that's normal or what have you. We're not doctors. Disclaimer, we are not doctors, but we will talk to you.
There's two things I had. So in the beginning, I had really bad neuropathy, but
Mhm.
since that has gone away, I upped my magnesium. I did all the little things that I could have done, and that has subsided. I get it once in a while, but it was really bad at the beginning. I, it was like it was very intolerable at the beginning, but it's better now. And now, like since you spoke about the Pleurix catheter, I had a Pleurix catheter, and then so when they took it out, I started feeling pain around the area where my Pleurix catheter was, and I spoke to palliative care, and the palliative doctor, he said to me sometimes wherever they put the Pleurix catheter, it takes like time, like on the inside, it does take time to heal, and that could be the source of my pain. And because I've done many scans and they can't find anything. There was a time when they were thinking about doing some radiation for him, but I never ended up getting it. And even the radiologist, she was like, "Where is like she because there's nothing showing that I should be in pain, but I'm in pain, like right on my like on my lower um left side where I had the Pleurix catheter, and it comes and it goes. It's not constant, but it does come and it go. Like I even had a like I did a urinary test and all of that because I thought there was something going on with me, but it's just pain that's just there, and
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's the only thing like I really deal with right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good thing. Definitely a good thing. And like if
but my
anything else
doctor
comes up,
says that.
yeah, right. Like that's, just be grateful for that for now. But like as things come up, use the group because we've probably all experienced some caliber of anything that folks are going through. There's just so many walks of life in that group that, if you feel like, hey, these doctors are not seeing me or they're not paying attention and you know that there's something more serious going on with that area, then like maybe
Mhm.
see and get another opinion, stuff like that, just to kind of put your nerves at rest a little. Cause sometimes that'll, just thinking about like, am I forgetting? Am I missing? Am I not paying enough attention? Can really mess with
Yeah,
you. So,
it does. Yeah.
all right. So we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to move into Donna's realm. We're going to talk about whether or not you're out at work. And I like saying out. I think it's funny. So I'll share my own story. I'm not technically out at work. My employer does not know. I mean, it's not a hidden thing. Like, I don't want anyone like, she's hiding her. If you Google my name, I'm very much out there. Like it's not hard to find at all. It's all over any page that you see of me. But I have not actually come out and told my employer, my boss, my coworkers, any of those people that I have lung cancer. Um, Not really any concrete reason why. It honestly is just something where I'm in a white male dominated industry that I constantly have imposter syndrome for anyway. And so I constantly feel like I have to prove that I'm supposed to be where I'm at and as far up as I am. And so I don't want to give anybody any reasons to think, oh, she's a diversity hire or, because I kind of check all of them ADA boxes. Like I'm Black, I'm a woman, I have a disability. Like, listen, I check all them boxes and I just don't want people questioning my validity of why I'm in the space that I'm in or how I got to the space that I'm in. Like I just want my work to stand for itself and speak for itself without anybody looking at me differently. So that's probably the main reason why. I think once I get close to my coworkers and stuff and feel a certain level of trust with the bosses, then I'll say, hey, this is what's happening. But I've also been very blessed and in the regard that I haven't needed to take FMLA for any amount of time, and I haven't had to really show my cards to my employer because I needed any kind of special accommodation or needed to take time off for like any extended period. So I do battle with that idea of like maybe I should just tell HR and let them know so that I'm covered and stuff like that. That's why I said we're jumping into Donna's realm because I know you've got all the good information for us on job protections and things that we can look at when it comes to sharing with your employer about your disease. So that's sort of my piece on it, and I eventually will plug your or pick your brain about it, Donna, because I am probably going to share it with this employer. But I'm curious, if anybody else, if you're working, is your employer aware of your diagnosis and why or why not?
So I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna respond now. I just want to hear what everyone has to say. But if there's a question, I can answer that question.
Oh, I'll talk. So I got diagnosed in 2020, and so I've been in pretty much tech sales. And anybody who knows that when you're in a sales environment, you have quotas, things like that you have to hit. So in 2020, when I was diagnosed, and at that job at that time, they actually found out about it because I was going through testing. I had to take time off and do all of that. However, I had, I think, 2 jobs after I actually left that job that were still in tech sales. And I chose not to disclose my diagnosis. So they had no idea that I have cancer. I literally was traveling, meeting with clients. I mean, I was pretty much living like kind of a normal life, as you can say. And I never literally told them. And the reason I did not is because I felt like they were going to try and treat me different. I mean, I know I'm sure there's all kind of laws and stuff in place. I obviously don't know. I know Donald would know more so that than me, but I felt like they would hold it against me or look at me differently if they knew this. And like here I am, like I got this, like just say $1 million quota, and they're gonna be like, oh, this girl has lung cancer. She's not gonna be able to hit her quota because of this. I didn't want any of that. So I had a coworker who did find out about it because they were actually on Google, like you were saying, Jamie. And they were like, oh my gosh, like you never said anything. Like you've been traveling with clients, you've been acting normal, you've been doing all this, and you've never said anything. And I said, I literally feel like you all were going to hold that against me. So eventually, when my progression got worse last year, at the beginning of last year, I had to stop working. And then obviously I had to start getting ready for this double lung transplant towards the end of the year. So I couldn't work. But I am actually looking to go back into work as we speak. Not necessarily, I don't know to do tech sales because it's a little bit complicated as to my life now, but I am looking to actually go back into work. And the line of work that I'm looking to go into, they actually already kind of know about the situation. So I feel weird now.
No, don't feel weird. But I feel you when you said that, because I'm like, like them holding it against you. It's not like, oh, da, 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 but it's more like there's a promotion coming up. And, are we going to look at Jamie for this promotion? How long is she going to be here? We're looking for somebody long time. Like that's my thought process. Like they may pass me over for opportunities, thinking that my health condition is going to be a problem for it. So that's, more of the reason. I didn't want it to hinder my ability to climb that, quote unquote corporate ladder, if you would. And so that's kind of why I didn't share. I know Donna's probably like, oh, you're also wrong. But it's a real thing, like they are not going to obviously broadcast that they're discriminating against you. They'll find other sneaky ways to do it. But like, I don't want to give them any reason to, try to look through those avenues and stuff like that. So that's probably more the reason why I haven't told any of the jobs, is like, I want to succeed on my own terms and not succeed on my own terms. But yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, I know Cola has an experience, so I will chime in after Cola.
Okay. I do have an experience. I've been with this city agency for 16 years. When my husband was going through his cancer journey, there was a lot of time that I took off, and I had FMLA. I knew I needed that protection because I was half day some days, whole some of the days out, and it was just to get him a diagnosis. And finally, when we thought we were over that hurdle, here I come. And when my director said to me, "Oh my God, not you again," I was like, "Okay."
Oh wow.
Yep. I said, all right, time for me to get some protection. But I find like employers, based on my experience, FMLA is a protection, but it doesn't stop them from finding ways to move around it. And what I did for 3 years, I kept copious notes, which in itself was a job. I documented, I made sure I followed up with emails. If I felt I wasn't being heard or treated fairly, or there was something not right, I followed up with email. I escalated to directors of HR. I did internal EEO until finally I was let go after 16 years and told, you can't. So I asked, I questioned, well, what's the reason? I was told by the director of HR, well, your boss is not in today, and she knows the reason why I don't have any information to provide. I'm like, what? You're the director of HR? Anywho, I challenged them. I went to EEOC, filed a claim, found a good attorney, and it took about 3 years, but we settled. And the attorney uncovered some information where there were conversations, written conversations about me. Like, for example, my director wrote my evaluation, and then the director of HR said, well, if you are saying that if you want to prove that she's underperforming, you need to change these three sentences here. So there was a lot that goes on. There's a lot that went on that I wasn't aware of. Bottom line, employers want you there and they want you to produce. And I wasn't there sometimes, so I couldn't produce. So, yeah.
Props to you for taking notes and taking all the steps and doing all the things, because a lot of folks don't do that. They just, they leave the job and get mad about it and then talk about it because they're upset. But like, you were diligent in your efforts and you made sure that you took care of yourself, and made sure that you held the employer accountable. And I think that's awesome. So, all right, Donna,
I'm here. So wait, is that the most recent employer call it? Oh, not the other situation.
Only share what you're comfortable sharing.
Yeah, I only just said what I said that, like, that was like my little behind, because I'm like, wait, I'm shocked right now. I do agree that to each person, like, there are so many different types of organizations out here. There's so many things that make, what am I saying, that kind of determine if you feel comfortable disclosing. Like, the type of organizations I've worked for, mission-based, not-for-profit. I've had different experiences with each of them, and they've actually all, and this is before I was primarily in HR, and they actually all helped me. And so my situation has kind of been the opposite. So I don't speak from experience, and I did not disclose. Well, actually, that's not true. When I was diagnosed, I had just started working with this employer. And so I had to miss time. And so I had to tell them, but it was such a small family-owned business and company to the point where I didn't qualify for a disability, but they paid me anyway. So I've fortunately had experiences where I've had the support that I needed. The American with Disabilities Act does protect your job, right? And it protects it. But there are still people, and they're still humans. And I don't know anyone who's lost a case if they've had to file a suit against an employer. Like, I don't know what they're doing wrong. Like, employers always lose. Literally, every time I go to a conference, I'm like, can you show us someone where the employer actually won? And they really don't. But they're like, outside of FMLA, which protects your job for 12 weeks, or protects your benefits, really. Protect your position, protect your medical benefits for 12 weeks. But there's an intermittent leave where you can kind of have that on the books if you have to miss time. Most of us should be on that anyway with the type of illnesses that we have, because if you have to take time off, you can't be penalized for it, and it does require a different level of disclosure. I will say, with the way people are working today, remotely, we can get away with a lot of things and not, talking to people. So, like, I used to be amazed at some, I won't say names on here because I don't know who's watching, but a couple of people on here, I would be amazed at, like, that their employers didn't know just based on how you moved. And so I won't say to anyone, like, oh, yes, you should disclose. You have to feel comfortable. But there are so many protections out there for us when we do. And actually, you talked about being passed over for promotion. Once you have, like, this record, they have these things on record about you. They have to prove beyond just, oh, she didn't get it. Like, why you didn't get this job, why you didn't get this promotion. You can't just be terminated, because now we have these reasonable accommodations. Like, I can do the job if you accommodate. Now, obviously, if it's an employer where, for instance, like your job, Natalie, you travel, if that job requires traveling, then an accommodation that says you need to be in the office wouldn't hold up, because the business needs you to travel. So there are different, like, levels to it. But as far as even just immediate job protection from FMLA, intermittent leave, like, if you've been at your employer for a year, that's like in your back pocket. Miss your appointments, you have to call out, miss a couple of hours. That's kind of like just covers you, for that.
Okay. See, that's what I'm talking about. I still just don't trust people though. Like I still,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, and that's why I was like, it's each person's like you have to know your comfort level and what you trust. And there are some cutthroat organizations out here who, no, they have, like Colette was talking about, they have people behind the scene. I'm still surprised people put things in emails and writing. I ain't gonna hold you. There's some stuff I don't email. I pick up that phone. I was like, listen, let me tell you this. Why would I put that in writing?
Right. Folks don't like, they have, if there's nothing else, they have the sheer audacity to write it down.
But we're protected. Let people know. I don't disclose, but you could Google us. We do so much work. People, and somebody told me, I selected you because I Googled you. I'm on the news. People at my job. I didn't disclose to them. People are like, hey, did I see you on the news at this walk? I'm like, I don't know. Did you?
Speaking of reasonable,
and that's it.
Donna, I wanted to add one more thing. I have had employers make a special policy for their FMLA employees, which, for example, if you're taking time off in the middle of the day for an appointment, you can take up to 4 hours. However, you cannot make up the time. You can't flex your hours if you're taking FMLA or intermittent FMLA. However, if you're taking regular PTO, you can flex the time. I said, what? And I put it in writing. I went to the director of HR. No answer. I went to the VP. It was never addressed, but a month later, the policy was changed. They try things.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand why, but all you need is one person to challenge it.
Yeah.
And this is not right, especially for people who are battling a disease.
Right. That's what I was just going to say.
Cancer.
Yep.
It's not right.
We got enough on our plates to deal with anyway. Like you should just be happy we're showing up to work in the first place, or trying to show up to work, dealing with all the pain we have and things like that. Like the fact that I'm here and I'm clocking in for you, like you should probably be a little more grateful and give me some grace. And so that, I mean, that's that right there, Colette, is exactly why I'm like, no, I'm not gonna disclose right now. Like I think I'm all set. So it's those kind of stories that scare you and give you pause, so that's probably why. But I mean, I appreciate that the protections are there. I know that there's powerful people that don't care about the protections and will work around them anyway.
For sure. Like you have to do what's comfortable for you. I mean, like I said, I don't talk about it like my immediate, my boss, like the general manager, he knew. And I remember when I first started working there, he likes to meet people, especially if they're like in particular positions. And I wasn't the HR director when I started working there, but and it's a grocery business, retail. And he gives this story about food. And so when I first started working there 4 years ago, I was so hyped. I was so major, into my advocacy, my wellness, my health, lifestyle, all the changes. And so that's how I shared it with him. Like, and back then, I had been like 6 years or however many years it had been, like no activities. So it was kind of like my, my badge of honor, And I think that's what has happened. It's been a badge of honor for like all of these years. Like, hey, look at me. I have this. But I was so glad I shared it with him, because 2 or 3 months after I started working there, I was shocked to get this diagnosis. And so for me, because how my mind works, I'm like, they're like, oh my God, did she know that when she first started working here? But because I had this moment where I shared, all of the work I do, and he was so impressed by the things I said, he knew I was blindsided, because I was like, yeah, I'm good, blah, blah, blah. But they were so supportive. And I recognize, like I said, that's not everyone's situation. But for me, I always wonder if I had not talked about it in that moment, in a casual conversation, how I would have felt being a new employee. Both times I was diagnosed, I had only been at the employer for 3 months. And so it was kind of weird. So I kind of I had to tell them, but I didn't spread it. He knew, and I'm HR, so we knew, but no one else really knew. And so they were shocked when they saw me, when they found out later. Like, I'm chemo coming to work, until they started seeing me on TV.
Wow. Yeah, at one point in Philly, I was on a bus. Wait, there we go. I think I froze a little bit for a second. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah. So in Philly, I did a campaign with, some organization. I feel like it was Lung Cancer Research Foundation. I don't know, but they did a campaign, and it was like Subway posters, billboard ads, and buses. And people would come up to me at work and be like, I saw you on a bus. And I was like, oh, okay, that's uncomfortable. So that was the unfortunate side effect of being on public transportation. So yeah, that kind of messed with me a little bit. But yeah, it's hard when, you know, it's very much out there. That's why I said in the beginning, I'm like, it's not hidden. You know, it's not like something where all traces of me on the internet having lung cancer are scrubbed. I mean, if you Google any of our names, the first thing that's going to pop up is some article about us having lung cancer, you know? So it's like, it's not a hidden thing. It's just, you know, when you're comfortable sharing, then you do. And if you're not comfortable, then you don't, you know, and if they can't say anything to you about it, which is the other thing I think that is important, you know, so they just have to operate in that that second life that you're living, where you're not necessarily, like I said, out at work. But yeah, so I wanted to jump into some of these advocacy things that we're doing. And I know there's various stages of advocacy. Like we've all done different things, from podcasts to articles to walks to fundraising to social media, like whatever the case may be, all of us advocate in our own way just based on what we're comfortable doing, which I think is one of the more important things to, you know, touch on, because I think, again, I say it all the time, that people get caught up in the idea of, you know, I can't be an advocate because I'm not good at fundraising, or I can't be an advocate because nobody's going to support my event. I got to do this big, huge event and no one's going to come out. It's not about that. Advocacy is about raising awareness, and you do that however you feel comfortable doing it. So if you feel like you want to have a 1,000,000-man march in DC, have at it. You know what I mean? If you feel like you just want to tell your friends and family to go get screened for lung cancer, they are both equally advocacy efforts. And I think that people need to understand that and realize that there is no one size fits all cookie cutter concept of advocacy when it comes to raising awareness. It's like a each one teach one kind of thing. And so you can't get caught up in this idea that like it's got to be some grand thing. It can be something as simple as telling a stranger when they're misinformed, you know, or just sharing something real quick on social media about it. So, you know, I said I was going to kill two birds with one stone. Monday nights, I usually talk about what we're doing for advocacy. So I want to give everyone an opportunity. I'm still respecting everybody's time, trying to get you out of here by 8:30 if at all possible. It should be definitely before that. But I want to give everybody the opportunity to talk through what are some of the ways you've done advocacy so far, so that people can understand what it looks like, but also what are some of the things you've done this month. And, you know, I honestly don't have a plan to finish out November strong. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like I'm army crawling my way to November 30th. I'm just tired. But like, what are some of the things that you're doing to round out this lung cancer awareness month? So I don't know who wants to start, but just jump in wherever you feel fit to do so.
I'll go first and quick, I guess. I just asked my friends and family to wear white and to tell someone about lung cancer. To use the hashtag that anyone with lungs could get lung cancer. In my daughter's school, I kind of talked to some people about it. I gave out some ribbons that Chris Draft gave me last week while we were at the game. And then just like my regular every now and again posting, of course, like I said, maybe even joking about the medication and still putting a hashtag. I haven't done anything, I guess, spectacular. I was supposed to do a walk earlier this month, and then I had whatever the flu or whatever I had going with me and my daughter. So that's it for me.
Yeah. And I mean, like all of that stuff is perfectly fine. Like the ribbons I was talking to somebody the other day about the impact of the ribbon and how it didn't exist. Like it's not even like, I think it's 5 years old at this point. It came out in like 2020. Heidi and Pierre did it in 2020. And you look at it now and it's literally like the flagship, like just image of the lung cancer movement. And I think it's amazing because I'm like, Dad, what did we do before the white ribbon was around? Like, what did we hold in pictures? What did we present to other survivors? Like, it's hard to believe that is only, you know, 5 years or less old. So it's like that kind of stuff. And it started with something as simple as Heidi just making ribbons to have on her front door and to raise awareness. And now it's literally like the entire lung cancer community recognizes the white ribbon. And, you know, the wooden ribbon, the signatures, the symbolicness of it, like the whole thing is such a movement. So it's like little grassroots things like that become, you know, everyday associations with this. So it's like, it's that kind of stuff that we don't think about. Sometimes we're like, damn, that is a big deal. Like, holy crap, won't he do it? So I'll jump in. I see some folks in the chat too. I'm going to get to those in just a second. This month has been crazy. I'm not going to lie. Last year, I felt like I didn't do enough. Last year, I definitely was on the, I'm here. I did what I can do for the year. I'm tired type wagon. And I didn't do a lot of, just a lot of advocacy, in my opinion. And I don't know what that means or what that looks like, but I just felt like I could have done a little bit more. So this year, I probably did a little too much. So I'm like, still working on finding that happy middle for me. But I mean, I've hosted quite a few conversations this month. I've had a lot of social media content that I've posted, just of me sharing candidly about different aspects of the journey. I've spontaneously popped up in areas around DC. I've done articles and interviews. I've been, in conversations and just sharing. I mean, I've presented lung cancer conversations in various platforms and areas that I didn't think I would do it in. So I've really just done my best to share as much as I can that it's not a smoker's disease, because I think that's the main thing that people need to get through their heads. I still to this day share my story and people are like, did you smoke? And I'm like, gosh, that stigma is on this, man. Goodness gracious. As much as we share about not being a smoker's disease, it's still like the number one question that everybody asks, and it drives me crazy. But I mean, I put a post up the other day. I think it was me sharing my story at church. And I mentioned radon in church because that's a big thing in the community, is like radon in these homes is a problem. And it's, something that people don't even realize is a thing. And somebody commented on that and was like, I didn't even know about radon. Where do I get a test? And I was like, yes, Lung Cancer Awareness Month accomplished. Like, if one person just gets a radon test and puts it in their house, I feel like I did something, because it's like, is this thing on? Is anybody listening? Like, pay attention to what we're telling you. But yeah, so I think in a few of us, so Danielle chimes in the chat, said, Billy, don't forget you went to the Capitol. That was a big deal. I don't know how you forget that, but okay, no big deal going to the Capitol to do legislation. We also did the white ribbon planting in front of the National Mall, which was great. So there's just a lot of things that we do. And it's, again, we do so much that we forget. Like, it's just like, oh yeah, I did do that. That's how it is. You're just busy and you're out in these streets doing your thing. And sometimes you just forget that you're being as important as you are. So that's me. Who's up next? Natalie, I see you're unmuted. So
yeah, I just wanted to say, I know we talked about what I've done before, and I feel like like last year, I really didn't do anything because I was in Chicago, but I feel like I've done a lot this month. I might still have a random article coming out, not really sure, but I'm taking a different approach towards the end of the month, more so of like a mental shift. Yeah. My husband and I, we're going to like take a little trip at the end of, not little, but we're going to take a trip at the end of the month, and we're going to kind of just like focus on just doing nothing, because we've literally had so much going on in the month of November, and between advocating and everything else, it's just a lot. So I really like the idea of taking a mental approach and just not doing anything to kind of calm the month down, or end the month rather.
And there is nothing wrong with that. In fact, if you've got room in your suitcase, let a girl know, because I need to go do some nothing too. Colette, I know I just saw an article with you, Miss New Yorker of the Month. That's pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. It's been crazy this month. Advocacy for me has really stepped up. Before, I used to be really big on fundraising, not anymore. I feel like I've moved away a lot from that. That's not where my passion is. Mm-hmm. My passion is educating my community. And this is the only time really when I'm busy on social media. Something that I really enjoyed this month is sharing each other's posts. That was a good idea, Jamie. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed deliberately and intentionally looking to see what everyone was doing and saying, hey, can you make this public so I can share it? Or can you make it shareable? My advocacy is something that I want to do full time. I'm 60. I want to retire yesterday and do this full time.
I hear that.
I don't know how. I'm looking for creative ways to monetize it so I can make a living from it. And I feel that's coming though. But I want to get out of the rat race of corporate America, and where I don't have to worry about FMLA and intermittent FMLA and all of that other stuff, and make this my life's work, because I'm passionate about this.
All right, ladies, let's do it. Let's start a lung cancer something or other.
Yep.
Figure it out.
Colette,
So we
really
can,
quick, I'm sorry, I don't want to veer off. Colette, have you switched your profile, like your Facebook profile to monetization?
Huh? What's that?
I said I don't want to veer too far off. Yeah, so
I'll connect.
we'll talk. I'll tell you how to switch over. I'm a content creator on Facebook, and I get it's a little check, but it's a check every month, and so
Okay, I
Yeah.
want to mention one thing though that I'm doing this not it's not happening this month. It's happening next month. We're having a Care Within Our Reach event in the Bronx, and this is the first time that something like this is in the Bronx coming from a lung cancer advocate. We have a robust agenda. We have some like renowned oncologist, cardiothoracic surgeon, and again the chief inaugural medical officer who looks like us. So that's a big deal
Hey.
to me. And a part of that event, I want this, I'm developing this campaign. I have space for like 30 displays, and it's a display with a note to the USPSTF, 3 sentences, something like that, on what screening, on what it means to us, to each individual as a lung cancer survivor, on what the current guidelines are lacking, pretty much. I have it posted on Facebook. It's said I have it written more articulate than what I'm rambling off now, but
Colette, please share your planting event as well that you did with all the trees in the
oh
Bronx.
yes. That's been my baby. It takes my anxiety away. I started taking care of New York City street tree beds. Like it started with 2 trees like 3 summers ago. And this summer it expanded to 22 trees and a maxed out credit card. But but this last week, New York One came out, and like I had like 22 volunteers who came out, one person for each tree bed, and everyone took a tree bed and we planted bulbs. So this spring we are going to be blooming. 4 of those tree beds are dedicated to the cancers that impact our community disproportionately: colorectal, prostate, breast, and of course lung cancer. And I have little QR codes with videos and stuff under the trees. And if you guys want me to, I'll ask permission before I include your videos, of course. But
You got all my permission. Post
yes,
what you want.
yes. Okay, so it's on.
I forgot to mention too. So the military bases, I had these tables at the commissaries all month long in November, and I must tell you, this has been a labor of love between me and my husband, because he's on Fort Belvoir, and I'd be like, babe, I need you to go check the table. Babe, go check the table. And like he checks the table twice a week or so, and we go after church on Sundays usually. And I go to the other one on Andrews Air Force Base and check that one. And I was like, first I got mad because someone kept stealing the pens. I'm like, stop stealing. There's a white tree on the table where you can write a survivor's name on a ribbon. You know what I mean? And like hang it on the tree. Very symbolic, really nice, really classy. Looks good. I keep coming in there. They keep stealing the pens. I'm like, like the pens are not part of the promo. Like if you take the pen, people can't write the names on the ribbons. So it's driving me crazy. But I mean, I've had to reorder pins and ribbons and bracelets, and I've wasted countless amounts of gas going to and from these bases just to police these tables twice a week. And it has been a labor of love, but I will say at least I have to police the tables twice a week because people are taking this stuff. They're taking the bracelets. They are taking the pins. I mean, the information is going, the pamphlets and stuff are going, the paperwork is going. So people
That's
are
good.
interested in the info. Right. You know, so it's like a blessing in disguise. It's a pain in the butt and it's a labor of love, like I said. But like people are taking this information. So I'm like, it is helpful. And now I've already started and created this relationship in the military bases for it. So I'll probably expand next year to not just the commissary, but probably the fitness center and stuff like that too, to make it even bigger and whatnot. So yeah. I forgot I was doing that.
And it's good that your husband's participating. That is so cool. I saw you both at church the other day when you came out.
Yeah.
You had me crying.
Oh, he hated that. He hated that so much. He hates all the pomp and circumstance. He hates all the attention. So I'm like, he was
But it's
internally
important
screaming.
work. It's great. It's great. It's great. And I'm gonna stop talking in a minute. When you said that anyone with lungs can get lung cancer, and it's lung cancer is something that often impacts veterans, I'm like, oh, that was like an aha moment for me, Jamie.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Yep. And it was that. And then I wanted to tie all the important points to it because that church is huge and it's full of veterans. Like the week, I was really actually disappointed because I was supposed to do that presentation the week before during Veterans Sunday, where like they had all the different branches of military veterans stand up and they applauded them and stuff like that. And I was like, this is great. All these statistics is fresh in my head right now. I'm ready to share and go and tell everybody like, y'all need to get scanned for lung cancer because like y'all are a big population for it. And he was like, we're going to do your presentation next week. And I was like, but I'm dressed for it and I'm ready mentally. Like, wait, I was so ready. So, but I feel like this following week, when I did it was very impactful still. And I feel like people really identified with it. So it was fine. But I was ready. Like I dressed the part. I mean, I was good to go, but I was like super disappointed that he moved it to
You
the
had your audience gasping. Oh my God.
I could see the looks on their faces as I was speaking that I'm like, you guys really didn't know this information, you know, like people don't know this and it's crazy. And like, as I share and I see people go, like, I'm like, yeah, really, you know? So that, and I shared at the bar that I play pool in as well. And people had no idea. They were like, oh, what? So, you know, I feel like this month alone, I made an impact and I'm like, if I can just get one person to go get scanned, you know, or screened, like I said, then I feel like my job there is done. So anyway, let me stop talking. So Billy, you've done yours. Colette, you did yours. Marika, do you want to share anything? You said you're
I
kind of
haven't done any advocacy. I mean, it's something
Girl,
that I
you're a
would
year
like
in.
to get into, but I haven't even come out to everybody yet.
You're a
So,
year in. You got to give yourself time to continue
yeah.
grieving and going through your process of understanding what's even going on right now. Like I'm surprised you're even in this room. Like I wasn't ready for these kind of conversations a year into my diagnosis, you know?
I don't
So
know. I feel like, you know what? I'll be honest with you, lung cancer has made me, like, I always ask myself, if not now, when?
mm-hmm.
Because I feel like, I'm gonna be honest with you, like I would like the idea of living 20 years from now. But knowing my diagnosis, I don't know. I mean, nobody knows, but I really don't know. And so my thing is, if not now, when? So it's like, even if I don't, like somebody said earlier on with the scans, they do everything in spite of being fearful. And that's the approach I want to take, in spite of being fearful of the lung cancer, in spite of being careful of how people might look at me. Like I want to throw myself into it and get involved.
And
So
then
eventually, hopefully I
hop
get to
in.
that point. Yes.
So I will say, find yourself an organization that you like, one that aligns with kind of like what your beliefs are. Like everybody in the group has a niche. You know, you have something that you're passionate about, or you don't. You don't have to. But I mean, it's easier if you have something you're passionate about to direct your course. Otherwise, you'll kind of be running 7 ways from Sunday with all of the organizations doing all of the things. But if you can fine tune, you know, what you want to, you know, focus on and like what's most passionate to you, it'll help you determine what opportunities make most sense for you, which ones might be a stretch, which ones you just don't align with. But I mean, I think at the end of the day, you know, first year in out of the gate, I didn't think I'd be here. Like I honestly was like, oh my gosh, lung cancer. Well, that's a wrap. I gave it a good run. Like I honestly didn't know what to expect. My doctor told me 4 to 6 years and I'm already breathing down year number 7. So I think at this point, living 10, 15, 20 years is more likely of a possibility than not, given how fast science is progressing. So get ready, strap in and jump in where you feel comfortable because you'll be around. And like you said, if not now, then when? Jump in then. If that's how you're feeling in the back of your mind, just start. Just take that first step and start and the rest of it will snowball for you.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I forgot who hasn't done their their advocacy.
Does that leave me?
I think it might.
So I'm going to end on this note. It's funny you say this because in the very beginning, I'm like, it's annoying when people are like, oh, look at you. You're amazing. You don't look like this or that. when I spent most of my time going out talking to people about, see, these things happen to me and look at me. So circle. And you too can live this regular, life like nothing is going on. I literally just thought of that as I'm sitting here listening. I'm like, girl, you did it. Now you mad. But based on the year I had, I don't feel like doing anything, and I'm just not. So what I'm doing is just kind of showing up, and it's a weird time of year. And Jamie, when you said it earlier, we do so much. I feel like the season for like advocacy in the lung cancer space, it starts in like March, and then we're like full stops through like the end of the summer. And by the time November gets here, we've done so much already. And so I chose this year just to show up, and just to kind of keep pressing and keep pushing. I mean, I've had some, I don't even remember. I think I've done the most on here. I'm not really on social media that much. And so when I do post something, and like 5 people get to see it, and I'm okay with that. I just kind of, show up. If someone asks me to do something for an article or interview, they share it, and that's it. But for me this month, I'm like, I don't feel like it. I don't want to.
Right.
I don't know when I'll feel like it again.
Like I said earlier in the conversation, sometimes just existing with this disease is enough advocacy. Like we have to give ourselves some grace sometimes. Like you don't always need to be the star of the show or in the spotlight. Sometimes you just need to be like, hey, look, I'm still doing my thing with this disease. Like living your life. Yeah, just being with this disease is advocacy alone. And so it's like you just have to do what you feel is best for you. And I think we all share that burnout in November. It's like lung cancer ramps up and we're like, man, we've been ramped up since like you said, like March, April, like I'm trying to ramp on down now at this point.
Right.
Like, yeah. But I think last year for me too, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to share all the stuff I did during the year in November for Lung Cancer Awareness Month. And I didn't do much. I was like, oh, maybe that's why. So it's like you just get tired, and that is what it is. But like I think, was it you I was talking to, Donna, where we were like, we're old in this space now, and it's like people have heard, and Natalie, you too, Colette, you too, people have heard our stories, they've heard us share, they've heard our spiel and our speeches, and we're all tired. Like we're like, I think I speak for all us when I'm like, y'all still want to hear my story? Like you ain't tired of hearing your story yet? Like we want to make room for some of these new voices like Billy and like Marika, who are here now, like who are ready to step up and take that baton. We're not handing everything off and sitting down the race, but like we're gonna let y'all lead a little bit, and we're gonna follow in the back because we've paved some of the way for you guys to take forward and go forward with what's going on. Like we've all shared, I think at this point, enough. So,
and can I say one thing? I do think that, when you said earlier, like our first year in, we wouldn't have felt comfortable talking about this, but we also didn't have a space like this. Right. And so the fact that we've created this, space to be able to welcome in other people, because clearly no matter what we do, there are still going to be people diagnosed. There's still going to be young Black women diagnosed. And to be able to have this bond and this sisterhood, growing from like 5 or 6 of us to like where we are now, that could just be the thing. And that's what I'm hearing too. I feel like, especially listening to Colette and even Sydney, I know she's on here listening, but like we're at a point too where we're like, okay, what's my focus, passion, and where am I directing my advocacy? Like, what's my strategy? Like, what's next? And I think that's where, and then we open up the space for others. But I mean, having this space, Jamie, you have led these, you do this every week, you're doing this, and it's a lot, it's a heavy lift. And so a lot of times, because you're the moderator, you may not start off sharing your story and where you've come, but honestly, having you create this space for us, like we wouldn't be doing this, right now, and or somebody else's platform where we have to kind of go by like their rules. And so just creating this space, that's a legacy right there. If you did nothing else this month but open up this channel, this page, that in itself is enough. We're reaching people. And so and I think it's time, and we're older. Like I'm old now. Like I'm about couple nickels this year, right? And I'm like, I'm tired. Somebody else. And I still have to, work full time or whatever. And so it's the way it goes, we had such a great time together. And so thank you, Jamie, for this space, for curating these spaces for us to be able to come here and just be ourselves.
Listen, I can't curate the space if I don't have the people to be on it. So thank y'all for always rising to the occasion. I feel like I'm constantly in the chat like, guys, does anybody want to share like what they're doing? And y'all always come through every time. Y'all understand the assignment every time. And like people are like, we can't wait. Like I'll never forget, you know, Heel coming up to me being like, do you know this survivor in Philly? Sending me an article with you, Donna. And I'm like, do I know Donna? Do I know Donna? I don't know. Do I? We just had dinner last night. Like, yeah, I think I know her. You know, like it's just amazing that having this platform, like you said, yeah, I didn't have this when I first started. So that's probably why I wasn't comfortable sharing at this point. But knowing that, you know, you guys have helped me create this platform and pave this way so that folks who are new to the game, like you guys in here right now, have the opportunity to hit the ground running early on and make an impact early on instead of waiting maybe 2-3 years until avenues become available to you. I think that's amazing. So I never thought about it that way. I never looked at it that way. So thank you for saying that. But, you know, like I said, I can't do it without you guys. So thanks for always rising to the occasion every time I come at you with some random thing I have an idea for. But this is year number 3. We've done this conversation in any kind of iteration 3 times. Every November, we do a Black Women Lung Cancer Roundtable, and I bring conversations that are important and impactful because you guys are always doing big stuff. So
we are.
Kudos to everybody.
I think Marika wanted to say something.
Also, I just wanted to add that I was in about 3 months when Sydney contacted me from the ALK positive group. And honestly, from my first conversation with Sydney, I felt like, okay, I could do this. I'll be honest with you, because she told me her story, and she asked me if I wanted to join the group and whatever. And I for like the first 3 months, I was probably really alone. But then after that, and whenever I talk to people, I tell them I have met a group of women that have been living with that so long, and I tell them I'm like the newbie, and they've lived through it for so many years. So I feel like that helps people who are just diagnosed to meet people to have something to reference to. And that doesn't mean that will be necessarily be a situation, but I think hope is a great thing. Like hope has carried me out throughout the year, and I think it will continue because I mean, why not, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I had you big for that. Oh man, you should have been center screen for that. That was such a good one. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, that was the point of the group. You know, it was to connect folks because there wasn't a conversation happening with us. We didn't know that there were other ones like us. And I think that's the problem, is that it just wasn't visible. And so I'm super glad that group exists. And I'm just sad whenever I have to add somebody new to it, unfortunately, you know, but adding new people to the group just means our work is not done. We got to keep going.
Amen to that. And shout out to Ruby Blow. Ruby is probably on here. Ruby was the glue. When we were like, yeah, we don't want this, Ruby was like, we're going to do it. She held us together. She held us down. Yeah. Like, Sydney, you have a question, you scared, you in the hospital, the doctor's talking. Give them Sydney's number. She's like, I'll call your doctor. So we have some good connections in this.
Listen, that group is so robust. I'd be like, is anybody early stage? Yeah, I'm early stage. Is anybody EGFR? I'm EGFR. Does anyone not have a biomarker? I don't. Like, if you name it, somebody in that group has it. Anybody who was a smoker, me. Like, I'm telling you, I said it earlier, we are so well represented in that group. We have like every aspect of lung cancer represented in there, and from all avenues and years of life, like young to older to middle age. I mean, newbies to OGs. Like, it's amazing. Like, I feel like if we had this group when we first got diagnosed all together, we would be running all of the things lung cancer. Like, we would be, imagine if we had this at year 1 for all of us. Like, what? Oh my goodness. With all the energy we had back then, please.
Yeah.
This is a good template of what a support group should be like. A really good template. So if Tamron Hall is listening to this, she would be remiss if she doesn't contact us and get us on that show.
Hey.
We need to do a
I
little
have reached out to. Oh, so I did do that this month. I reached out to Tamara Hall, Jennifer Hudson. I've inboxed like all the newscasters in Atlanta because one of the newscasters did a report at my daughter's school a couple years back. So I had her contact information. I'm so sorry to cut you off. That was so rude.
You are fine.
But I have inboxed all of those people. So maybe if we keep doing it.
Keep
We
doing
have to.
it.
Cameron's
Keep
on my
doing
bucket
it.
list, so I'm like, I was about a year and a half ago, but then something else happened with me. But I'm like, Cameron, that's my place to go.
Wait, Donna or Colette, which one of you was it that was like, I see us being on TV or being on an interview? I feel like that was you, Colette. Wasn't that you?
That was Donna.
Was it? Okay. Because I was
that
like,
was
somebody
Donna.
said that.
I'm like, it's Cameron. Yeah, I don't know why she came to my mind. Like, yeah, and then I saw her have someone on there from the lung cancer space, and I don't like how the story was handled. So I was like,
Yeah,
okay,
she didn't do well with her. I was
They
mad
didn't
about
do
that.
well
And I'm
at
fiercely
all.
protective of her too. And I was like, you ain't do my girl right. I didn't like that.
and then you know what? And that show wasn't in the context of lung cancer. It was kind of
Yeah.
like overcoming things. And so I gave her a little bit of grace on that because she does do those commercials about lung cancer, like little pop-up ads, Tamron. Maybe that's why she's been on my mind. So, but yeah, we'll get out there. And I do have some connections over American Lung Association. They always call me for media opportunities. So we gonna get on there. We gonna get it.
I tried, y'all. Y'all made me a liar. It is now 8:30, and I still have 2 more questions for each of us, but we gonna be quick about it. Promise me.
I'm
I'll be
hungry.
quick. I know, I'm starving. So real quick, round robin around the room. Piece of advice for anybody who's newly diagnosed. Shout out your contact information. That'll be the end of the show, I promise. All right, Donna, you go first because you're the first on my screen.
I think we said it all here. You know, find yourself a community, a group to be open and vulnerable with. We get it. We understand you. And my contact information will be in the chat because it's kind of weird. I don't want to say it. You won't remember.
Yes, it'll all be in the chat later on, folks, if you miss anybody's contact information. All right, Natalie, you're up.
I would say advice, just kind of like what my husband always tells me, whenever something goes down, just try to sit in it for like a day or so, eat your ice cream, do your thing. And then after that, move forward. Basically just don't sit in whatever you have forever. Be ready for a plan B of attack always.
Contact information?
Just my Instagram is what I'm on the most. It's Natalie. I forgot. I put it in the chat. I never can. Oh, Natalie_B10. Facebook is just my name. Facebook is cool, but I'm more of an Instagram person.
All right. Marika, you're up next. I mean, you're newly diagnosed, but you can still impart some wisdom on folks who are coming behind you.
On anybody newly diagnosed, I just wanted them to know that there is hope. There's a lot of medicine. Like I read a lot, and there's a lot of medicine that is being made to help us survive this this diagnosis. And so therefore it's just my theory is I'm gonna take the best medication for me at the time to reach the next best thing. So and to be able to prolong my life as long as possible. And I think that's just something people should adopt because it's like, what else are you gonna do? And just never give up hope. Just keep your faith strong, be hopeful, and do it in spite of being fearful.
And are you comfortable with people contacting you? Do you want to share your contact information?
Not yet.
You got it. No worries. It comes with time. Don't worry.
Okay.
All right, Colette, you are up next, my dear.
Okay, my advice would be to advocate for yourself. If something does not feel right, even with your current care, ask questions. If you're not getting the answers and the care you deserve, switch physicians. They work for you, not you for them. That's my advice. And my contact is my IG, which is Healing the Bronx, or on Facebook, I am FET by Colette. FETE by Colette.
And last but certainly, well, second to last, but certainly not least, is Billy.
Okay, so I would say the same thing that Donna and Colette said. One, which is to find your tribe, find people who support you, who understand. So that was really big and important for me, and I feel like it's gotten me this far. And I look to y'all for, this level of support. And then to advocate for yourself, like no matter what you like, I don't care about being called angry, mad, whatever. You can call me whatever you want to. I'm not offended by literally nothing. And so to continue to advocate and fight for yourself. My social media is my first and last name, Billy Jones, on Facebook. That's where I am most of the time. My TikTok is BJeezy, so BJEEZY 83, and then my Instagram is about number 2 take off. And yeah, so if you're easily offended by any words or anything, I may not be the person to follow because I say what I want to say. So, but other than that, welcome. Come on in.
All right, folks. And last but not least is myself. And I remember my social media this time around. But my advice, I would just say find somebody in your life that needs this information and get it to them. Because I think that's what we need to do. Each one teach one and share it, because it's no good if we're talking to each other in a silo. We can't be preaching to the choir. We have to be preaching to new, unheard, and unseen people before. So if you know somebody that needs this info, take it back to them, share it with them, go with them to a screening, do whatever you got to do. But just try to make that connection for somebody. My social media is TikTok. I am It's Just Jams, all one word. I am just _ jams on Instagram, and I'm Jamie Jam on Facebook. I do have a TikTok advocacy page. It's not nearly as active as it needs to be, and I'm working on that. I am. But other than that, that's where you can find me. Most importantly, make sure you follow the HEAL Collaborative, especially if you are interested in coming to our annual African American Lung Cancer Patient and Caregiver Summit. Next year, April 2026, we are in New Orleans, and it's going to be a time. So you definitely want to make sure you get your registration in there. It's open now, and seating and stuff like that is reserved and limited. So once we hit capacity, we're at capacity. So don't wait, get registered. We're starting things early this year, so you'll start to see communications coming out soon. But yeah, like this, share this. Thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight, to all the folks in the group chat that help make Ladies Like Us possible. We appreciate being able to stand on everybody's shoulders so that we can help the next generation of folks who come behind us, move forward and move the needle forward. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in tonight. If I don't see you or hear from you, have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And other than that, thank you for rocking with us all Lung Cancer Month long. There's going to be one more episode of Voices That Heal because, why not? I've got more hours in my day. Not tonight. Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, I've got another nutritionist on to talk through culture and cuisine and how we can survive Thanksgiving without all of the guilt that comes with overeating and unhealthy eating habits. So that being said, everybody have a good night. I'll talk to you later. Thank you, ladies. I love you so much for being with me tonight.
Good night. Thank you, Jamie. Love y'all.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.